Oh, look, another glorious morning. Makes me sick. Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the show. My name is DDare Bionic, if you did not know, and I am black with another video. I'm going to be reviewing Hocus Pocus 2. The idea came to me because I am absolutely obsessed with the original Hocus Pocus. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm a spooky queen, we know that. I love the spook. I love everything spooky. And I wanted to give my opinion as someone who grew up with the film, and I don't know, I think people like to hear what I got to say. So let's get into a spoiler-filled review. So this is your spoiler alert warning. Do not watch this video if you have not seen Hocus Pocus 2. Go to Disney Plus, watch it first, and then come back here and see if you agree with what I say. I'll give you a second. Like I said, I grew up with the original Hocus Pocus. I was actually born the year it came out. And so we're the same age. But also I watched it a lot as a kid. My sister loved it, and it was just like a staple of the Halloween season. For me, it's Nightmare Before Christmas, Hocus Pocus, Coraline. If you can't tell, I love horror movies, but my heart and soul lives with animation. I've always loved animated films, TV shows. I was always more into that when I was a kid. So I personally resonate with the campy, like fun, sort of comedy, sort of scary moment that Hocus Pocus is. I have always been kind of, I don't want to say I never wanted a sequel, but I was always like, I don't know what they would do. How would they bring the witches back? Like, what would it even be about? Where would they even go? And I know that Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Najimy all were super interested in coming back. And that, just the fact that whenever it got brought up, all of them said they would do it again. I was like, okay, we'll do the movie. If you have all three of the witches, all three of the original witches are coming back, I have come to sit at the table to hear what you have to say. I was still on the fence, and then they announced it, and I started seeing the visuals and started seeing some of the things coming from like leaks and stuff, and I was like, oh, this looks like it actually might be kind of good. I'm excited. I got excited. I was immediately excited. So once the trailer dropped, when the trailer dropped, I was calm. I watched it many times. I cannot lie. I watched it a lot of times. I continued watching it because I loved seeing them back in the costumes, back in Salem, and I was super interested to know what the new storyline was going to be. So let's get into my review of Hocus Pocus 2, the actual review. This might be controversial yet brave. I loved it. I loved it. I've seen it twice now. Loved it. I loved it even more the second time watching it. It did everything right that it could have done right. Did it do some things wrong? Yes, and we will get into that. But everything the movie did, as far as how they brought the witches back, as far as how the witches leave again, like I said, this is a spoiler review. The storytelling, the references and the callbacks to the original film, everything, not everything, but most of the film was so fun and lighthearted, and it reminded me of the first movie. It made me feel like I was watching Hocus Pocus 1 again. It didn't feel too modern, if that makes sense. It felt like a movie from today, but it could have come out immediately after the original film. A little bit about the story. The story of Hocus Pocus 2 is, I don't even remember her name. That's sad. Wow.
Hi. hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
Okay, so the film starts with 1600 Salem. Winnie is a young Winnie, which the actress, her name I believe is Juju Journey Brenner. Oh no, that's young Sarah. Where's young Winnie? Hold on, because I need to give her praise. Taylor Henderson played young Winnie, yes. She was so good. She was funny, she had the mannerisms, she had the... It was all three of the kids playing their respective younger version of the original Three Witches were so funny and cute and really did a good job of capturing the essence of these characters. And I love the fact that they gave a little bit of backstory to who they were and why they were witches and how they became witches. So it's Winnie's 16th birthday. They get chased out of the town by Reverend Trask. And they are Trask. I've got the cast list pulled up here. They get chased out of town. They run into the woods, and it's like a sacred ground. And then a witch, an older witch, played by Hannah Waddingham. Played by Hannah Waddingham, comes in dressed beautifully. She comes in as like a, I don't know what kind of bird it was because I don't like birds. But she came in as a bird then transformed into a witch. And I was like, holy shit. But she comes in and she's initially trying to eat Sarah. And then Winnie protects her and she finds out that she's a witch. And Mother Witch gives her, that's what her character is called, gives Winnie the book. For her 16th birthday. In the original film, they said something about like, they say the book was given to her by the devil himself. And I love that they actually made that, like that's a part of the like lore, but they made it that, oh, another witch passed the book down to her. It wasn't the devil, they weren't evil, they were just kids who were a little mischievous and, you know, eventually became evil, which I love, but they weren't making deals with the devil. They didn't demonize witchcraft in this movie, which I think is really awesome. So then fast forward to 2022, the lead actors in this film that are not the witches, so the new set of witches, I should say. So we have Becca, who was played by Whitney Peak, great job. Cassie, who was supposed to be like the Sarah. So Becca is the Winnie, she's the head witch. Cassie Trask, played by Lilia Buckingham, is like the Sarah, and their friendship is like a little torn apart because she has a boyfriend. It's a weird backstory that they don't really go into, which I love that they didn't give like this whole B-side story of why Cassie's not in the friend group really anymore and why she's, you know, they introduce the boyfriend character and that conflict is dealt with, and it's understood quite immediately that Cassie has been blowing Becca and Izzy, who was supposed to be like the Kathy and Jimmy character, the Mary. She's been blowing Becca and Izzy off, and it in literally one scene. So just in that one scene, you know that they are at odds with each other, and it's great storytelling. The two young ladies, Whitney Peak and Belissa Escobedo, I hope I'm saying that correctly, playing Izzy. They were so good. Their chemistry was on point. You would think they had been best friends for their entire lives. Like you would think that they had been going into the woods together as best friends doing this ritual since they were kids. They are fabulous actors, and I am excited to see what they do after this. Becca and Izzy go to Gilbert's, played by Sam Richardson, his witch shop. He's got like an apothecary shop type of thing where he sells like Sanderson sister memorabilia, but also actual like magical items and stuff like that. And he's got book in a case, just there chilling in a case, locked up and asleep. And it's also the Sanderson sisters' old home, which I thought was so cool that they took this They didn't leave it in the middle of nowhere. They kind of built up the town of Salem from 1993 to 2022, and they kind of tucked it into the city. So it's like a part of the culture that the Sanderson house is just there, and you can go and buy gifts and watch magic shows. And he's giving a whole thing where he's Gilbert the Great, and he's telling the story of the Sanderson sisters and the Black Flame candle and all that stuff. So they go there. They have a really good rapport with him. Sam Richardson is always fantastic. Every time he's on screen, I adore him. And he gives Cassie a candle, a really weird looking candle, but a candle for her 16th birthday for their ritual. And they're like, okay, cool, thanks, great. They go into the woods, they light the candle turns black. The flame of the candle turns black. And the witches are back, just like that. Here comes my my first little, okay, whatever, like critique, I guess. I know that the witches love to sing, and I love to hear them sing. I didn't like the fact that they came back with a musical number. It just seemed so out of place. It wasn't the moment. It wasn't the moment for the musical number, and it wasn't what I wanted, I guess. Like the original shots where it's like backlit and it's like lightning striking and you see just the silhouettes and they're doing all this beautiful, and then they start singing. Oh my god, girl. I was like, okay, all right, this movie has been really good, and it is still really good, even though I am not enjoying this little moment of singing. So we're now probably like 30 or so minutes into the movie. That's the first thing that I didn't like. And I just didn't like that they came back with a song. I wanted the song to wait a little bit longer into the film. But let's continue. So the witches catch Cassie and Izzy, or not Cassie, I keep saying Cassie, freaking Becca. They catch Becca and Izzy, and they're like, we're gonna eat your soul. We got tricked by teenagers 29 years ago, and da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, we're not teenagers, we're actually 40. They sell kids and souls and products at the store now. Which I thought was a funny way to kind of poke fun at the like beauty industry, but also to introduce all of the crap that has happened in the 29 years from the movie. So they go to a Walgreens that has electronic doors, and they're like, oh my god. And so they go into the Walgreens and they're like eating skincare products and drinking them, and it's so hilarious. Becca and Izzy get away from them using salt, which is a great callback. An actual magical witch thing, but also a great callback to the original film where Danny uses salt. Or not Danny. What the hell is her name? Allison. Oh, Allison.
Oh, Allison.
Where Allison uses salt, and Winnie's like, what a clever little white witch. That was a great little callback. So they get away, and we have another iconic callback to the original film where Winnie and Sarah and Mary need to fly. They're like, we're gonna fly. Winnie's on a broom, Sarah's on a Swiffer wet jet, shut up, and Mary is flying using two Roombas, which play into the story later, which I thought was so brilliant. Like, last time she was on a vacuum, and she's on vacuums again, but like the more modern version of the vacuum. So the witches are chasing them. They go to Gilbert. They're like, Gilbert, what the hell? And he's like, oh my god, you brought the witches back. And it turns out that Gilbert was there 29 years ago, and he saw everything that happened with the witches and Danny and Allison and the older brother, whose name I literally never remember. What is his name?
Max Dennison.
Max. I don't know why I couldn't remember Max. And he has been trying his damnedest to bring the witches back. What the hell? He brought the witches back. He gave her this candle. The witches come to their old home and they're like, what the hell? It doesn't smell like death. Where are my rat tails? They did so many things right. The rat tails. When Sarah comes into the home the first time, she's like, my lucky rat tail. Like, another thing I really like that this movie did, and kind of continuing on in the story, is they really let Winnie use her power. They really made her into kind of like a real witch. In this one, there's a spell called the Magicae Mystica, which she discovers when she's 16, and now that she's been brought back to life twice, she's like, I know I said I would never do this spell, but I'm doing the Magicae Mystica tonight, and we're gonna get into it, and that plays a really big part in the end of the story. I thought that was such a brilliant way to bring the witches back and not make it the same storyline of them trying to kill children and eat children and suck the lives out of children to live forever, and be a great way at the end to end the story. It gave them a new purpose, it gave them a new concept and idea, and it kept it from being a shot-for-shot remake. Truly, I was incredibly happy. So all while this is happening, Winnie also casts another spell. She throws Becca and Izzy into like the dungeon of the Sanderson home and locks it so that they can't get out. She casts another spell. She does so much magic in the movie. It's so wild to me how much more magic she does in this movie, and I love it. One of the things they needed was the blood of an enemy or something like that, and so they go to find Reverend Trask, and this is where we have our new kind of I put a spell on you moment. They use one way or another, and that's to me not a spooky Halloween song. I like the idea that they used the song, but here is another part where I had a little bit of an issue. It was announced that Cornbread the Snack Jete, who was my favorite queen from season 14, and I was so sad that she got injured and had to leave the competition. Kamora Hall from season 13, who went home first, and Ginger Minge, who has been on too many seasons for me to actually remember, but I adore her as well. She's fantastic and should have been Ursula in The Little Mermaid, just saying. But they had the three of them on stage and kind of in this little moment, and when they said that they were going to be there, I really and truly, what I envisioned was the same scene with One Way or Another, where they put the town under a spell to find the Reverend. I imagined that, but them using the drag queens who are dressed as them to cast the spell. They cast a spell on the drag queens to cast a spell on the town, because drag queens lip sync. Like, that's what they do. And they really lost this opportunity that would have been so good for drag, and a really great, wonderful moment for the film to just kind of have fun. Like, a drag show? What? All these people standing up here in drag, and they really just were in the film for like this long. And so that really disappointed me. That was probably the one thing in the film I was looking forward to the most, was like, I had these high hopes of them actually doing something, and they really didn't do much. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the way they used my queens. I didn't enjoy it. They do a very similar thing to the original film, where they put everybody under a spell, but this time they're looking for the Reverend, and there's a bunch of little Easter eggs in the crowd. There's one lady who's dressed as the mom, dressed as Madonna in the original movie. There's a guy that's dressed like Satan, and his wife from the original movie. There's a couple, a gay couple, an interracial gay couple at that, watching Hocus Pocus when he flies by the window. Like, there are so many little nods to the original movie in this film. I think that's what made me like it even more, aside from the fact that it honestly was just very beautiful and a great love letter to the fans. So all while this is happening, Becca is discovering that she has powers, and she's kind of brushing it off, but like, all of these things keep happening where she like gets them out of the dungeon using angelica leaves and like actual magic, and the salt thing was actual magic. Like, Becca is a witch. We find out slowly that Becca is a witch. And so a bunch of other stuff happens. Becca and Izzy go to Cassie because they're like, yo, the Sanderson sisters are back. And so this is how the three of them kind of come back together, which was a really beautiful moment and very, again, easily done. It didn't take a big speech. It wasn't a whole long B-side story. They just are friends again, and it makes sense. Like, they're trying to protect each other and themselves. So they trap the witches in salt again, and freaking, wouldn't you know it, Winnie's Roombas come through and eat the salt because they hate mess. And they break them out of the salt circle. The witches snatch up Cassie, and now they have all the ingredients. Oh, Billy is also reawakened in this whole thing. Apparently, he was never put back to sleep when the witches died the first time. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still on the fence about that particular idea, because I feel like they could have maybe brought him back again, or not brought him back. I don't think I would have hated it if he didn't come back, but I do like that he was back, and I do like that it was Doug Jones who was him. They have all these ingredients. Gilbert and Billy were like running around collecting all the ingredients, and Billy in the end turns on, or not Billy, Gilbert ends up turning on Billy and taking his head because he needs the head of a lover and all this other stuff. So they have all the ingredients. They start to cast the spell. Cassie comes in, and the best thing that they did with this movie was giving Book a personality. Like, Book didn't want to do the Magic High Mystica. Winnie literally had to cast a spell on him to make him do it, and they really humanized the Book, girl. They really made Book a character. They gave him thoughts and ideas and choices, and in the end, he chooses to go with Becca instead of staying with Winnie to do the Magic High Mystica, because he knows how bad this spell is. He knows the horrors of the Magic High Mystica. So he is like, he chooses to go with Becca in the end. And so Becca has the book, and he shows her, what will stop Magic High Mystica, or what Winnie didn't read when she read it the first time because she skipped over the warning. So she does the Magic High Mystica. She gets the power. Her sisters also get power. Sarah and Mary are shooting lightning. And then Sarah and Mary disappear. And it was such a heartbreaking moment and such a beautiful moment at the same time. Winnie's like, I got all this power. I have the power. The whole point of the Magic High Mystica was you give up the thing that you love the most. And it, as much as Winnie like dotes on and is, kind of shitty to her sisters, the thing she loves the most are her sisters. And she had to give up her sisters to get the power. And then she's like, oh my God, reverse it, please. Winnie's literally pleading to Book. She's like, please, my sisters are my everything. And it's such a beautiful, heartbreaking moment. And Book shows Becca a spell that will send Winnie to her sisters. And so there's a beautiful end to the witches. Instead of them being, cursed and dying because they didn't do the spell in time, they essentially, Winnie chooses to go and be with her sisters instead of being an all-powerful, almighty witch. And also, the book is now passed down to a new coven. It just, and so that's the end of the movie. Then, Cassie and Becca and Izzy all walk away, and they're kind of like doing the step that the original witches do. And they kind of left it open for another film. There could be a Hocus Pocus 3. Because in the end credit scene, there's another black flame candle. I don't think that there will be another Hocus Pocus with the witches, with Sarah and Mary and Winnie. But I could see, and I feel like I would enjoy a Hocus Pocus 3 with our new trio and a new story. And I think that would be cool for kids growing up. Like, this is somebody's first Hocus Pocus movie, and they probably loved it. So let me get into my final thoughts on the film. All in all, I absolutely loved this movie. I want to watch it again and again and again. It was funny. It was campy. It had all of the nods to the original that it needed, and it did so many beautiful things with the new story of Cassie, Becca, and Izzy right that I love these characters. I thought they did a great job world building, character building, and really giving a new life to what is one of my absolute favorite movies. Now, here's where I think they went wrong. Obviously, the 2 points in the movie that I probably felt the least happy with were the 2 musical points in the movie. So when they sing in the intro, and when they sing at the I Put a Spell on You-esque version, thing that happens with the I say, with all that. I just feel like they could have used the drag queens. They could have used Cornbread Ginger and Kimora Hall much better and in a completely different way. And I thought the song choice one way or another was not great. It fit the theme and it fit what they were trying to do, but there are so many more spooky songs that they could have done a fun campy version of Season of the Witch or something. That song just doesn't scream Halloween to me, and it doesn't scream spooky. It did lean a little DCOM Disney Channel original movie with the green screen at points. It was very family friendly. I feel like the first one was a little more spooky, but not really. But this one was really family friendly, which is fine. I don't care. It's supposed to be a fun, campy movie. But the green screen really was just not, it was not good. It was giving early 2000s, late 1990s Disney Channel original movie. Will this movie become a cult classic like the original? No. I don't see that for it. I don't think. But I do think that for years to come, people will enjoy this movie and continue to watch it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Hocus Pocus 2 film. What did you all think? Leave a comment down below if you loved it, if you hated it. Tell me what you think of the movie. I loved it. I plan on watching it many more times and adding it to my queue for the Halloween season. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you like this video, leave a movie down below that you want me to review next and I will get to it. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. If you would like to shop Lunar Tide's hair color, the link is in the description. You'll get a little bit of money off on some cool spooky colors like these. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.